themselves into animals.
Damn dragon. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. Let me break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG Reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all my supporters, man, who come back to the channel, watch the videos entirely, comment down below, and most importantly, hit that thumbs up button on each and every single video. Greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, man. Say it with me, y'all. I seek the truth.
Disturbing brain facts you didn't know about. The brain will protect itself even if it means misery to you or death. Inhaling smoke in the middle of a burning house. Brain will make you stop breathing and pass out. Stuck in the middle of a cold place. You will fall asleep to conserve energy and never wake up again. Had your leg torn off by a bear. Here's adrenaline. So you can save your brain even if there's a huge risk of infection or further injury. You and your brain work together most of the time, but when push comes to shove, you are sacrificed.
Survival of the fittest, even for your brain, bro.
Normal looking photos with a disturbing backstory. This photo might just look like a girl scribbling on a blackboard, but it was actually taken in a school for emotionally disturbed children in Poland. This girl's name is Tereska and she grew up in a concentration camp. But what's even more disturbing about this photo is that the assignment was to draw what home looks like. And while all the other students drew pictures of houses, this is what Tereska drew. Now this might look like any other high school photo until you look closer. You'll see these boys in the very back suggestively pointing at the camera. Their names are Eric and Dylan, and just a few weeks after this photo was taken, they unalived 12 students and 1 teacher in the Columbine shooting.
Psychology hacks you need to know. If you ask someone to do a small favor, their subconscious mind will register that they like you because they're doing a favor for you. Showing the palms of your hands while talking to someone subconsciously communicates that you have nothing to hide and you can be trusted. Whenever you are introducing a new idea to someone, if you lead with the words, "This might not be for you, but," it naturally engages the person's interest and makes it feel like it probably is for them.
Really?
If you need to remember to do something tomorrow, just put something in your room out of place. The next day you'll see this item out of place and it will remind you of what you associated it with. If you are procrastinating right now, stop telling yourself that you have loads of work to do. Instead, just tell yourself you only have to work for 5 minutes. You'll most likely continue to work even after 5 minutes. People who are lying normally blink more than usual, hide the palms of their hands, mess with their hair or appearance, and use either abnormally long or short sentences. Follow for more.
Really? Those tales, man, you gotta pay attention to them.
Worst ways people have been unalived, Part 5, the woman who was embalmed alive. This is 28-year-old Ekaterina Fudieva from Russia. She had recently been diagnosed with ovarian cysts and wanted to have them removed, so on March 15th of 2018, she went in for surgery. The very routine operation went just as planned. This is when the fatal mistake comes in. Instead of her being administered a saline drop, she was given formaldehyde. If you don't know, formaldehyde is something morticians typically use to preserve and keep a body as fresh as they can. The staff tried flushing her body with water, but to no avail. The chemical started to attack her body. For over 12 hours, her organs started to fail and shut down. She remained unconscious for 3 weeks, all while being hooked up to machines to try and keep her organs from failing, but she soon passed.
And bombed alive? It's one of the most craziest things we've heard yet. That might be an edit, man. If you guys see any edits, like I said, call them out.
These are human body parts that may disappear in the future. First up is body hair. Originally, it protected ancient humans from harsh weather conditions. However, over time, with modern clothes and changes in environmental conditions, human body hair has significantly decreased and continues to do so. Many scientists believe it might eventually completely disappear. Next are wisdom teeth. They used to serve an evolutionary purpose for ancient humans who had much rougher diets and needed more chewing power. But our diets have softened and our jaws have become increasingly smaller. As a result, they have no space to properly grow in, and many people need to have them surgically removed.
Yeah.
Many babies are now being born without wisdom teeth, and scientists believe this will eventually be the standard. Finally, we have male nipples. Everyone starts as female in the womb, and before the Y chromosome kicks in for males, nipples have already formed. When the baby becomes male, the prolactin levels decrease, making the male nipples non-functional. So while it's debated, some scientists think they'll disappear.
Creepy fact you probably don't know.
Nipples will
About
disappear?
Part
What
two.
the heck?
At one time, doctors thought that babies didn't feel pain. It took up until 1987 for the American Academy of Pediatrics to declare that it was unethical to operate on babies without anesthesia. So that means for years, babies were forced to just sit there and suffer through surgery without any form of pain control or anesthetics. So yeah, that's kind of scary.
Here's some random
Yes,
facts
it
that
is.
will mess with the way you see the world. Astronaut means star sailor. Astro meaning star and not meaning sailor. That
Ooh.
is such a cool name. High heels were originally made for butchers so they wouldn't get blood on the bottom of their shoes. The first ever webcam was created to check on a coffee pot just to make sure it didn't catch on fire. In Switzerland, it's illegal to own just one guinea pig. You need at least 2 or more. I think it's because they get depressed if they're alone. I'm not even joking. Australia
Okay.
is wider than the moon. How does that work? The Eiffel Tower is taller in the summer. This is because metal expands when it gets hot, right? A jiffy is an actual unit of time. It's 1/1000th of a second. In Japan, there's over 200 flavors of Kit Kats. I didn't know that there were 200 flavors, period. Queen Elizabeth was
Either.
a trained mechanic in the military. That's a baller move, though. Become a mechanic and then a queen. Do you know the only letter that doesn't appear in a U.S. state name? I'll give you 3 seconds. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Q.
The letter Q.
Weird ass facts that I know for some reason. If you're allergic to eating shrimp, then you also can't eat cicadas. Male hedgehogs, pleasure themselves the same way that us guys do. So be careful when you pick one up, because that white stuff on their feet is not mayonnaise. Saddam Hussein actually wrote a romantic novel. Platypuses don't have nipples, so they literally just sweat milk. Ducks will have sex with literally anything. Literally anything. Literally anything. On average, cannibals find ponds to be the tastiest. Crocodiles gallop, just like a horse does. The thought of this is really scary though, not gonna lie.
There is something sinister
Gallop.
that's occurred in the heart of
Galloping?
An 8-year-old girl has
Okay.
completely vanished in or near the lake, which of course has left her family and loved ones completely devastated. This place is nestled within a remote and desolate swamp. Caddo Lake is shrouded in mystery. It's dark trees, murky waters, and there are countless hidden spots that would make it perfect for someone to disappear. As the search for Anna continues, there has been a startling discovery. There are secrets buried deep within this eerie lake, far more than I think anybody could have imagined. Now, this chilling premise is the basis for the latest suspense and mystery film, produced by M. Night Shyamalan, premiering on Max Thursday, October 10th. Don't miss the stars Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlon as they unravel the terrifying secrets hidden beneath the surface, only on Max.
Okay, wait. Should we check it out, man? See, because like I said, you guys know I'm not into scary movies, but thrillers and things, I'll check those out.
Truths
Yeah,
about
I did.
fears. You are not afraid of the dark.
I
You
ain't.
are afraid of what may be there.
That actually makes sense. If you really think about it, because I'm just starting to put two and two together. Like I said, obviously I'm not afraid of being in a dark room or something like that, or like I said, being outside when it's really dark. But you just don't, when it's dark, you don't know, you can't see, so you don't know what's actually there. So that actually makes sense. She's scared of the things that could be in the dark, and actually scared of the darkness itself. Well, some people actually could be scared of both, but I think I fall into that category, bro. Expanding my thoughts, procedures.
The darkest conspiracies in the world. The Mandela Effect. A theory that suggests that our current reality has somehow been shifted into an alternate universe. Such evidence includes things like the Berenstain Bears being Berenstain Bears, fruit of the loom, with and without the cornucopia. Even the memory of Mandela dying in prison back in the 1980s versus 2013. Supposedly created by the CIA as a psyops. Are we really in an alternate reality? Hit the plus sign if you think so.
Hit that thumbs up button if you think we're in
There
an
are some of the
alternate
most
reality.
random animals people have been killed by. In July 2013, a Brazilian man was asleep in bed when a cow fell through his roof right on top of him. The 3,000-pound animal had been grazing when it stepped on a thinly corrugated roof and fell and suplexed the man whose only crime was sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. The man seemed okay and went to the hospital, but then died of internal bleeding before even seeing a doctor. In the water, it isn't the sharks you have to worry about. It's the needlefish, because they'll yeet themselves out of the water at 37 miles per hour. Getting vibe checked by a fish fast enough to get a speeding ticket is one creative way to get put in a Twitter bio. One Indonesian woman tragically got pierced right above the eye, and even though she was rushed to the hospital, she flatlined a few hours later. One needlefish managed to stab a 10-year-old boy through the eye and into his brain, killing him almost instantly. Peacocks are low-key ops. A man in Thailand was minding his own business when out of nowhere his pet peacock mauled him, slashing at him with his claws. This velociraptor in drag managed to put this man in a coma. By the time he reached the hospital, they discovered there was a small blood clot in his brain. And he never woke up, so next time you see a peacock roaming a zoo unsupervised, just remember what they're capable of.
This horror game
Walk
changes
away.
the appearance of the monsters based on your personality, and it's a Silent Hill game. In Silent Hill Shattered Memories, there is only one monster. It's called Raw Shock, and it can actually change its appearance based on what you do in the game. The game actually pays attention to what your character does and looks at while exploring in the overworld. Yes, you heard that right, what you look at in the game. One example is if you spend a lot of time looking at things like beer bottles, the monster will actually appear to look diseased. Levels are broken up by psychiatric evaluations that also change certain aspects of the game. These can lock you into certain playstyles that affect both the ending and the way the monsters look. It's one of the most underrated horror games I have ever played, and maybe one day we'll do a video talking about the ending.
Silent Hill. They just made the Silent Hill 2 remake just came out.
Three
Man, to the
movies that are
games,
even more
bro.
disturbing than Human Centipede. Just when you thought you've seen it all, I'm here to bring you the worst of the worst. We're gonna go from the least to the most disturbing.
Okay.
So in third place, we have The Sadness. This is a Taiwanese horror movie about a virus that makes people act out their darkest thoughts. So imagine the most twisted things you could ever think of, then imagine if you couldn't control yourself and needed to act on them. This movie gets very dark very quickly. In second place, we have Serbian Film. Yes, that means there's one more movie that I think is even more disturbing than Serbian Film, but just wait for it. Serbian Film is about a kind of actor who gets tricked into performing very intense things. Just to give you an idea of how disturbing this movie gets, it's in over 40 countries. And in first place, this is the most disturbing movie I've ever watched in my life. Trauma is a 2017 Chilean horror movie. The first 5 minutes of this movie is more disturbing than all three of the Human Centipede movies combined. And basically, it's about the son of and it shows how his father prepares him for that job. Then there's a time jump and we see a group of women on vacation and they run into him. If you like disturbing movies, then follow for more.
These
Man,
are the
checking those
scariest
out.
planets ever found, part 3. Up first is 51 Pegasi b. This planet is mainly made up of hydrogen and helium, and the temperature on this planet is over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This planet is so hot that the iron on this planet gets vaporized and then forms iron vapor clouds. These clouds will then produce molten iron rain, which just sounds completely brutal. Next up is Korat Exo 3b. The degree of pressure put on a human being walking on this planet would be completely insane. A human on this planet would weigh almost 50 times heavier than they would on Earth.
Oh,
That
no.
means that a 180-pound man on this planet would weigh more than 9,000 pounds. The amount of stress would crush a human being's skeletal system instantly.
And yeah, they keep talking about how they want us to expand to different planets. That's proof right there, bro. We don't know what we getting ourselves into. We getting freaking iron rain. Your skull, freaking system's gonna get crushed instantly. I vote we stay here on Earth. What do you guys say?
The world's most dangerous conspiracy theories. This picture represents conspiracy theories from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these theories say once you learn the truth, there's no return. For this series, we're going to be picking some from each category until we reach tier 10, the point of no return. Tier 10 is so scary that people are saying I'm literally going to die before I even reach tier 10. So make sure to follow to see the journey. Okay, so tier 3. This is the point of no return. Today we're going to be talking about the Denver Airport. The Denver International Airport is located in Denver, Colorado. Before we get to the conspiracies, let's go over the facts. During the process of building this airport, they apparently went over budget by $2 billion, and supposedly even more than that. They were also 16 months behind schedule. So now we're going to talk about some of the theories on why they went over a budget of $2 billion and why it took so long to build this airport. One of the most popular theories is that it's an underground facility for the global elite. There's a lot of facts to back this one up, but a construction worker claimed that the reason the delay was so long is because they were moving 5 buildings downstairs. And by downstairs, I mean in this underground tunnel. The second theory is the Mustang statue. This statue is a blue horse on its heels right in the center of the airport. Later, it was given the nickname Lucifer. The reason they call it Lucifer is because of the fourth horseman in the apocalypse in the book of Revelation. And the fourth horseman represents death. A lot of people have taken videos of this horse, and you can literally see red eyes, even though there's no LED lights inside of them. The crazy thing is, the sculptor who built the statue actually was killed by it. The statue fell down, crushing him and splitting one of his arteries, killing him instantly. So maybe the reason for the delay was to hide something sinister. The final theory that most people believe is this is a foundation for the Freemasons. The Freemasons have some of the most powerful people in the world, which leads people to speculate that this is a headquarters for the Illuminati. There is even a statue that says March 19th, 1994, and those numbers equal the number 33, which is the highest level of Freemasonry. And under the date, the commission name is New World, hinting to the New World Order. The New World Order is thought to be a small group of people controlling the entire world under one government, creating total power and total wealth. So, do you think this airport accidentally spent over $2 billion, or were they hiding a much darker secret? Make sure to like and follow because we have a lot more to learn. Also, my YouTube channel is Austin Fro. Tomorrow I'm going to be posting a full version of Tier 4, so that way you guys can watch the entire thing.
Time travel tips, part 3.
Discuss it down below.
Southampton in 1912, and make sure you bring a cloth and a bottle of chloroform. Take 1 month of Morse code classes. Purchase a ticket to cross the Atlantic on the RMS Titanic. At 8:30 p.m. on April 14th, walk into the radio room and sneak up behind the operator. Quickly cover his face with the chloroform cloth, knocking him out. Carefully hide his body, and then send out a distress signal. At 11:40, you'll hear a horrible screeching noise. As the ship begins to fill with water at midnight, the RMS Carpathia will arrive, saving everyone on board before Titanic goes under.
Okay. Follow those damn steps. That's an edit. Call them out, man. Like I said, if you guys see any edits, call them out because I might miss some too.
Dark web videos you were never supposed to see, part 1. The first video we're watching is going to be the Glesgord video. The full video was actually only 2 minutes long, but YouTube removed it after only 153 people watched it. The 153 people who viewed this video apparently gouged their eyes out and sent it to the YouTube headquarters. The video itself was only viewed by one YouTube staff member who apparently passed out during the first 45 seconds of the video. The person who uploaded the video was never found, and there was never an IP address to find him. The crazy part about this video is that 50% of people see that he smiles and the other 50% say he keeps a straight face. So you guys are going to decide.
Shaved fish are just smiling. I definitely saw something in the eyes.
Didn't happen, part 2. Airport security is non-existent. You simply show up and walk to the gate. The U.S. government has invested in a universal healthcare system instead of the Iraq War. Pete Davidson works with his dad as a firefighter in New York City.
These are some unsettling facts that you likely never knew about. Part 4. Most laughing tracks that you hear in movies and TV shows were recorded back in the 50s. So, you're essentially listening to dead people laughing. If the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs had hit 30 seconds later, dinosaurs would still be alive, which likely means that we wouldn't. Studies show that you're 7 times more likely to die by killing yourself rather than somebody killing you. Like and follow for part 5.
On October 30th, 2022, police received a phone call from a woman claiming that her ex-boyfriend was in her family's home and he shouldn't be there due to the fact that she had filed a restraining order against him a week prior. While on the phone with police, dispatchers then heard shots ring out and 4 people were killed by Joseph Castorina. Thankfully, his ex-girlfriend and her 2 children survived, but unfortunately 3 of her family members, as well as 1 man who rented an RV on their property, passed away. Despite fleeing the country, he was found in December 2022, and as of recently, the now 22-year-old was charged with 4 life in prison sentences. What are your thoughts?
So about
It's just an evil case.
3 little girls were murdered in a dance class by a teenager, and 10 others were injured. Of course, that teenager was arrested, but official sources never identified who this guy is exactly. There were several protests and riots in the UK across several cities in the country, and there was a mosque that was destroyed and burned down as a form of revenge because of what happened in Southport. About 1 day later, after this incident, the government, the media, and the police have officially identified who the killer is. He's a teenager named Axel Rudakubana from Rwanda. That is a Christian, not a Muslim, a Christian. Are you gonna burn down a church now that you know he's a Christian? Is that the natural response we as people should have? Official sources confirmed who's the person behind this misinformation. And let me tell you, this is how dangerous misinformation can be.
It can be.
It can lead you to do the wrong things. The person behind this misinformation is Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson is an anti-Islam activist. Most of the biggest platform he has is on X, Twitter. That was where he tweeted that this guy, the murderer, was a Muslim. And you know, because of his contribution to the misinformation, these riots happened. And innocent people were injured. And a mosque was burned down. I'm not sure if it was one or more than one. To be honest, I don't even know the guy. I just heard of him today. And from an official news site that said Tommy Robinson was the main contributor to the misinformation that led to these riots. People are so gullible in this way. Really. Like, I mean this with no offense, but you guys are. And it's really bad.
It's power behind words, man. That's why you have to be careful what you say. Like you said, misinformation, it can be a dangerous thing, man. You never know what your words can lead to.
He unalived his parents so he could throw a house party. This is 17-year-old Tyler Hadley, and he
Come
lives
again?
in St. Port Lucie in Florida. On July 16th of 2011, around 1:15 p.m., Tyler posted a Facebook status saying, "Party at my crib tonight, .. maybe." But there was only one problem with that, and that was that Tyler's parents were home and they had just recently grounded him for drinking and drug use, so they definitely were not going to let him have a party. Some of Tyler's friends knew that he was grounded, so they asked him how this was going to even happen, and he just said, "Don't know, man, I'm working on it." But by 8:15 p.m., the party was on. Tyler posted on his Facebook again saying, "Party at my house tonight, hit me up," and one of his friends asked, "What if your parents show up?" And he said, "They won't, trust me." Tyler knew that his parents wouldn't shut down the party because he had just unalived them. When he had posted that on Facebook, their bodies were barely cold and he wanted to throw a party at the price. This all started when Tyler's mom took away his phone and his car as a form of punishment because of his drug and alcohol abuse, and even told his best friend that he was so mad that he wanted to unalive his mom. Before Tyler's party was supposed to start, he took his parents' phone, and around 5 p.m. he took some illegal substances. Tyler did this because he was afraid that he was not going to be able to go through with his plan sober. Tyler found a camera in the garage, and he went towards where his mom was, and she was on the computer, and he just stared at the back of her head for about 5 minutes, and then he smoked. Tyler's father could hear his mother's screams, so he went to go see what was going on, and that was when Tyler beat him to death. Once he unalived them, he dragged their bodies into the bedroom. Once Tyler was done with that, he invited his friends over for the party. By midnight, more than 60 people showed up for that party, and none of them knew that Tyler's parents' lifeless bodies were just staying in the other room. Later that night, Tyler ends up telling his best friend that he had unalived his parents, but his best friend was having a hard time believing that. Tyler wanted to prove to his best friend that he was telling the truth, selfie with Tyler because he figured this was the last time he was going to see him. His best friend left the party and then called Crime Stoppers to report it. On July 17th, around 4:24 a.m., Tyler's best friend Michael left an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers stating that his friend Tyler had brutalized both of his parents with a hammer. Police quickly rushed to Tyler's home, and when they got there, the party was still going on. And while they were talking to Tyler, he told them that his parents were out of town and he was not going to let them inside, but they made their emergency entrance anyways. And police wouldn't have arrived, but when they did, Tyler was already thinking of taking his own life once the party was over. Tyler was arrested for murder, and about 3 years later, the court sentenced him to life in prison.
I remember this one story you told
This
about
for a
this
damn
guy
party.
who has this kid, and he's saying that he sees his wife, but she's actually dead.
She's a jinn.
She's a jinn, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a jinn. So
The story happened in Pakistan.
yeah.
Yeah, some guy married a jinn, yeah.
That story.
This story's messed up. Actually, you might have seen videos on TikTok about this because it was blowing up in Yemen and in some parts of the Arab world. You know, in Yemen there are Houthis. Well, in one of the Houthi bases, one of the Houthi soldiers went out, saw somebody he didn't know. Hey, who are you? He looks at him and runs away. He shoots him. Person dies. He goes, checks the body, person's dead. Goes back to tell report it to the general or whoever. And I killed the person, I don't know who he is. They go back, the body's not there.
What?
Where's the body? I don't know. No blood, no nothing. I said nothing happened.
Chills. Oh my god. Okay.
He killed the jinn. He killed the jinn. He killed the jinn, bro. The next day, same night, a whole court system of jinns possessed this man. There was a judge, jinn world, judge, prosecutor, and the victim's father. The jinn, the father of the jinn that died. All talking using the guy's voice. And he was obviously having a lot of seizures in between. Saying that, by the way, they were Muslim jinns, so they don't immediately attack. There is a system, there is a law in place, they follow the same Quran, you know? They didn't kill that soldier, but they let him off the hook with a punishment. So either they had to take somebody from his family, life, or they kill him, because that's what the father said. He said, let me kill this man, he killed my son, let me kill him. But the judge refused, and there was something he had to pay as a diya.
What?
And I don't know what it was and how it worked out, but the guy suffered a lot, man. He killed the jinn.
So he killed the jinn. The jinn was the human being?
Yeah, he is shapeshifted. Jinns can shapeshift. They're not perfect human being form, but they can shapeshift enough for you to look at them and think they're humans.
So he killed the jinn.
Killed the jinn. And you know, sometimes they say, when you see a lizard, sometimes they say part of the sunnah is to kill it, right? Because it could be a jinn. And if you take the lizard's life and it was a jinn, the actual jinn dies. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes they
If
will.
I killed it, they thought it's not gonna come after my family.
It can. That's why there was another story in Qatar of a guy that shot a black cat. It turned out to be a jinn.
Oh yeah, I heard that. I heard that a lot before. They say if you see a black cat, be cautious. You know, it might be jinn.
It might be. Then they went and they say, hey, you tried to kill one of our people. Be careful. You do that one more time, we'll bury your head in another continent and your body in Antarctica. Like we will separate you in half, like literally.
Damn.
But they can't do that. They really can't. You know?
Turn themselves into animals.
Damn dragon. It's like a full body shoot, right?
The youngest parents in the world, Linda Medina, was 5 years old.
It's
Tressa
insane.
Middleton was 12 years old. Alfie Patton was 13 years old.
They'll tell you that's the mom. It's making national news. How is the first time I'm hearing about this?
Hilda Trujillo was 8 years old. Sean was 12 years old.
In the mystical lands of ancient India, not all demons were born evil. The Brahmins, the highest of castes, held immense knowledge and power. But what happens when one falls from grace, committing unspeakable sins? They become the Brahma Rakshasa, a dreaded demon with a Brahman's knowledge. Adorned with skulls, feasting on flesh, wielding both Vedic and demonic powers. Feared by many, yet deep within some seek redemption to escape their accursed existence. Today, these mythical beings continue to captivate, reminding us of the duality of knowledge and ethics.
So they're basically saying that I guess the knowledge it corrupted them, because like they said, a couple of them fell. Just by the way they look, I was like, yeah, they definitely on some demon timing right there, bro. What do you guys think, Seekers, man? Does all knowledge corrupt?
Another scary story, and this one comes from India. So the day we got to India, my parents needed to go to the bank. The banks were open till late. It was already about 9 p.m. So they decided to leave us with the neighbors to babysit us. So after my parents had gone, the babysitter decided to sneak us out to go watch a movie at the theaters. The movie's name was Ganjana. It was a horror movie. Now after watching that movie, it was already about 12 a.m. midnight. And we were really tired, so we decided to just go straight home. Usually we take the main road home, but there were too many people that could recognize us, so we decided to take the long route, and that would go through a Muslim cemetery. Back then I wasn't really scared of jinns or ghosts and spirits because I thought, what could really go wrong? The second me and my neighbors stepped into the cemetery, I felt a presence, and it felt like it was touching me. And the jinn would not let us look behind. We could only control our legs. It felt like hours when we tried to pass through cemetery, but some way or another we got through it. The next day, me and my neighbor got really ill. Till now, I'm still scared of going through the cemetery. So they do say that if you see a dark spirit, any kind of spirit, you get ill or sick. It could last for like a week or 2 weeks, but yeah, that does happen. But you could have also been really scared of the scary movie you just watched, and then you're walking through a cemetery, so you're like psyching your brain out to think that way too. I don't know, but either way, we believe you. Send me more, guys. These are so good.
I just took those good kids to see that scary movie. That's a damn
Dayan
shame.
witches. Dayan is a witch in Indian folklore. The primary source of their power is her long plaited hair that is used as an additional limb. They also have monstrous black nails and feet that face backward.
Hey, we learning out here.
Have you ever heard
Top
of the
in.
Indian urban legend of Bullet Baba? The legend revolves around a motorcycle that is believed to have supernatural powers and provides protection to travelers. The story goes that in 1988, Ombana, whose real name was Om Singh Rathore, was riding his Royal Enfield motorcycle late at night when he lost control and crashed into a tree. He tragically lost his life in the accident. The police impounded the motorcycle and took it to the police station as part of their routine procedure. However, the motorcycle mysteriously reappeared at the accident site the following day. The police, perplexed by this unusual occurrence, seized the motorcycle once again and emptied its fuel tank. They even chained it to prevent it from being moved. Despite their efforts, the motorcycle miraculously returned to the crash site once more.
Nah.
The locals perceived this as a sign and began worshipping the motorcycle as a guardian deity. They constructed a shrine around it, where the Bullet Baba's motorcycle stands to this day. Devotees offer prayers, flowers, and incense at the shrine seeking protection for their journeys. According to the legend, it is believed that Ombana's spirit resides in the motorcycle, and he continues to protect travelers from accidents and mishaps on the road. It is said that those who pass by the shrine offer their respects to Bullet Baba by lighting incense and pouring water over the motorcycle. Furthermore, there is a belief that if anyone steals or disrespects the motorcycle, they will face misfortune or be involved in a serious accident. Several anecdotes and stories circulate about individuals who ignored the sanctity of the shrine and suffered unfortunate consequences soon after.
This is why you have to...
Man, what the hell? It's one of the most bizarre stories you come across. These clips we see in Seekers, like the freaking motorcycle bike kept returning to the place where the incident happened at, man. They even chained it up and took out the gas and it still ended up there. You guys want to deep dive into that one? Because that one was bizarre, man. Blowing my mind.
Always be careful about what comes out of your mouth. I was gone to Jammu, India, and I went to go visit Vaishno Devi Temple. It's a Hindu temple. It's about 5,200 feet above sea level, and it's about 12 to 13 kilometers from the base of the starting of the temple, and you have to go up this mountain. And it usually takes about 6 to 8 hours depending on how fast you walk.
Damn.
So nowadays you can take a helicopter up, especially because there's old people, little kids that are all doing this with their families. Or you, back in the day when I went, which was 15 years ago, you could take a donkey. You could go on top of a donkey and go up. This is the base of the temple, and every day they get about 30,000 to about 35,000 people that go and pay their respects at this temple. As you can see, there's a windy road, and this goes all the way up, which takes about 6 to 8 hours.
It's like a snake.
My friend thought, okay, she's not going to be able to do this 6 to 7 hour, 8 hour hike. So then they ended up giving me this donkey right here, this guy up here. And me and my friend would just trade off, for halfway she'd go on it, and then halfway I'd go on it. So the reason people go to this temple is if you are, say, childless and you want a child, to wish that. So basically your wishes come true. If you're poor, to give you wealth. If you have no sight, to give you eyesight, and so forth. So as you get closer to the entrance, it's just jam-packed with people, literally butt to butt. Everyone is so close. This is the entrance to the cave. When I went, this is what it looked like, and there was everyone lined up, back to each other, and everyone was in good spirits, super high energy. Everyone's Sare bolo, Jai Mata Di, Jor se bolo, Jai Mata Di, and that's what they were doing. And I was so into it. I was getting into it, singing with them. What the entrance looks like now. Those of you who've been to India, you guys all know that there's no such thing as structure and lineups. People usually push in the lineups. So that's literally what was happening here. Everyone was just pushing to get to where they go do Jai and Matha Tek and stuff, where they go bow towards the shrine. It's literally like a holy cave amidst the folds of the Trikuta mountain. So as we're chanting, I didn't realize it, but I completely almost missed the shrine because it was so small. It took forever to get there, and then when we got there, the actual shrine was so tiny. So as you can see, it's right there and way up there, that red thing. This is what it looks close up. Those little round things on the bottom are called pindis. They're rock formations, and in this temple there's no idols, no statues, nothing else besides this. As soon as we came out of the
just rocks.
As soon as we came out of the temple, I jumped on the donkey, and I turned to my friend who's walking beside the donkey as we were walking down this 5,200 feet mountainous area. I go to her, we just came here with a negative attitude. I said this. I was like, we just came here to see 3 rocks. What the hell? I can't believe people put their children and old people through this just to see 3 rocks. As soon as those words came out of my mouth, I kid you not, the donkey slipped over the side. It was a wide area, but I don't know why I went on that side. It slipped off the side of the hill, and it literally slipped like this, and I was holding on to it for dear life. And right below us was literally 1,500 freaking feet, but there's a little edge, like not even a foot long edge that his foot landed on, so he was kind of stable. because it wasn't super far down where he landed, but it was like this much off, falling off the cliff. And everyone got around. There was like a guy who like handled the donkey. He was like pulling it up. My friends were pulling it up, grabbed me off of it, and I got off of it. And I was like, holy shit. I was so scared. I didn't go on the donkey again. I walked all the way down. But I was so scared because just as I uttered those words out of my mouth, that happened to me. It was like someone was listening to me and was like, you better fucking get your ass in check. Don't say that shit about a place where people actually have so much good energy and they're just there for wishes. I don't know what it was, but that was actually so scary. It was like such a near-death experience.
Like we said earlier in the videos, man, there's power in words, man. I guess she said something negative about that sacred space, man, and the universe, whatever, the energy, whatever, it came just right back at her. We didn't even have to wait like a minute, a second. Like she said, legit happened as soon as she said those words uttered out of her mouth, man. These powers are not word seekers, man. That's how I always try to preach positivity, man, in the world as much as I can. Ooh. That sounds scary. Pointing at. They just living with it? That spirit or entity? Could be me. The hell? It's definitely looking for something. You can tell by the way they're creeping around the house. The hell move that chair?
It was this guy from India, right? Basically, up till he was like 20-something years old, his life was normal as then randomly, bro, in his mid-20s, he started to complain to his family that he was having like abdominal pain like crazy. He was like, yeah, like I don't know, like my stomach and like just all right here has been like, hurting and shit recently. But his parents are like, bruh, you know, maybe you're just having like a stomach ache or some shit, bruh. Just see what's good for a couple days and then let us know. It kind of like technically goes away, but it doesn't. Like he's like, all right, it doesn't feel as bad, I'm just gonna leave it alone. He leaves it alone, bro, up until, cause like I think at the time it was probably like 1970s when, you know, he was like in his 20s. Up until 1999, he ends up going to the hospital because he literally could not breathe because this thing was like blocking his airway. Like, and he goes to the doctor. They're like, okay, cool, we're gonna see what's good with you. They start to cut this dude open, bro. Mike, when they cut this guy open, bro, you're not gonna believe what's inside this guy's stomach. Oh, baby, Mike.
What the hell? He had a whole baby inside of him, man? That sounds something like out of science fiction. Like you said, there was abdominal pain or something. And he went with it, lived for that pain for how many years? And it was a baby? We're gonna have to check up on that, Seekers, man. Or if you guys want to check up, tell me down below, but I'm definitely gonna have to check up on that one. Gonna have to try to confirm that.
Creepy urban legends you didn't know about India. The Indian village of Kuldhara was seemingly abandoned overnight, and no one knows why, though there are a few eerie theories. There are structures in the town of Kuldhara that date back to the 13th century, but no one has lived there since 1825, when all its residents seemingly vanished into thin air. According to local lore, 1,000 villagers completely abandoned their home overnight, without a trace. No one knows why they left, where they went, or even saw them leave. Theories as to why they left range from poisoned wells to a greedy ruler levying high taxes to a dwindling water supply, though none of those explain why the inhabitants left so suddenly. You might be wondering why no one has tried to resettle the town. That's where the legend comes in. It's said that the village chief cursed the land, apparently. Anyone who tries to live there will die. The Indian Paranormal Society spent a night there and reported disembodied whispers. Screams, noises are common at dark hours. Many of our members have witnessed apparitions, heard footsteps, experienced unusual touch, and so on.
They spent the whole night there? Man, like I said, I always gotta give it up to the people, man, who try to explore the paranormal, man, because, like, you have to have a different type of bravery, man, to go into that type of situation. With all that dark energy and stuff, I can't be around that. Freaking story behind that, man. It's haunting, though. You guys have any theories on that?
What you're about to witness was recorded by soldiers in India when the villagers complained of strange noises coming out of a cave. The soldiers went to investigate, and this is what they encountered.
You saw that, man? Was that an edit or was that legit? That one was kind of iffy, but you saw something peek out, and then went back in, like, in, out, in, out. Right there, and then it was gone. These clips, man.
Let's talk about India's youngest and most infamous serial killer, Amarjit Saddam. He was only 8 years old when he struck. He preyed on children, and his first victim was his sister, who was only 8 months old. Shortly after murdering her, Amarjit struck again, murdering his 6-month-old cousin. Even more chilling is that the family and villagers knew about these murders but chose to stay silent. They deemed the killings as internal family issues, not realizing that Amarjit would soon strike and murder someone outside of his family. In 2007, Junjun Devi, the mother of a 6-month-old baby girl, left her daughter at the school daycare to do her chores. When she returned, she found her child was missing. When the news spread, people feared the worst, and since they knew about Amarjit's past, they confronted him. After being questioned, Amarjit showed no remorse. He gleefully told the villagers about how he strangled the child to death and then led them to a shallow grave where she was buried. He told them he killed her by beating her with a brick. He then buried her with debris and grass that was around the area and went back home after she was dead. He was arrested for the murder of Khushbu Devi after his confession. Unfortunately, since the family covered up the first 2 murders, Amarjit wasn't found guilty of them. Despite this, he was questioned about how he attacked his victims and why. Instead of providing these details, he looked at the police, smiled, and asked if they could give him some more biscuits. He showed no remorse, and whenever the police tried to ask him about the crimes, he would stop talking and smile. Superintendent Amit Lodha ordered that the case be looked at from a psychological perspective. Patna-based psychoanalyst Shamshad Hussain looked into the case and found that the child lacked remorse and enjoyed inflicting pain on others, making him a true psychopath. It also seemed that he had a brain issue which led to a chemical imbalance. This in turn led to increased gratification from inflicting pain on others. He was diagnosed with a conduct disorder that was claimed to be hereditary. This led him to commit acts of violence because he had no sense of right or wrong. Amarjit was tried, and according to India's laws, it's speculated that he was sentenced to serve 3 years in juvenile prison since children can't serve more. It's also speculated that due to his mental state and the extreme threat he posed to society, that he was placed in a mental institution after he served his time. Amarjit's whereabouts are currently unknown. However, in 2015, he contacted the Post-Mortem Post. He claimed he was in a children's facility where he would would be till he turned 18. Since he would be over 20 now, if his claim is valid, he'd be allowed to leave the facility. It's unclear whether he'll go on to commit more crimes or if he was successfully treated. Some people speculate that Amarjeet wasn't the original culprit and that he was framed for the murders. The nature of the crimes and the elaborate hiding spots were too much to have been committed by an 8-year-old child. Despite this theory, the fact that he was excited to reveal what he did and his reaction when he was questioned, it seems that Amarjeet Sudha was in fact India's youngest serial killer.
That's an insane story, man, with twists and turns.
Creepy facts about our world. The Devil's Bible exists and is said to be a contract between a 13th century monk and Satan. Also known as the Codex Gigas, it's the largest Latin manuscript known to the world and contains a full-page portrait of Satan. Ancient Romans.
This is unbelievable. Chinese scientists have successfully used stem cell technology to grow deer antlers on mice, resulting in a major breakthrough that could one day see humans regrow lost limbs. The researchers were able to identify and extract these cells responsible for the rapid growth of antlers on deer, and then transplant these cells onto the foreheads of the mice. And just 45 days later, these mice started growing small stumps that actually contained cartilage and bone. The team hopes that this procedure could one day help repair bones or cartilage in humans, or potentially even grow back lost limbs. The question is this exciting or just weird?
I think I'm gonna have to go with weird, man, because once you start freaking crossbreeding, bro, that can open up a whole can of worms that wasn't intended, man. People can use it for different purposes, and we can go down a very dark slope. So I don't know how people gonna feel about that one, bro. Crossbreeding, cross genetics.
The past couple of years, we've been seeing more and more of these cases of mothers throwing their newborn babies in the garbage. You've probably heard of this case in 2023 when 19-year-old Alexi Trevizo gave birth to her baby in a hospital bathroom, which then she threw her baby in the trash can and her baby did not survive. Another 19-year-old in New Mexico named Alexis Avila also threw her newborn son in a dumpster behind a shopping mall. Luckily, the baby was found alive by 3 people who were looking through the garbage. Now, last week, another baby was found in a dumpster behind an apartment complex in Houston after someone heard a baby crying. When EMS arrived, they pulled the baby out of the trash bag with his umbilical cord still attached, and based on the baby's condition, it was obvious that he was just born. Police looked at surveillance footage and realized that this 18-year-old named Everilda, who worked at a taco truck beside the apartment, gave birth inside the truck and then threw the baby in the dumpster. She was then arrested, and she did admit to it and said that she did it because she feared that her boyfriend would break up with her. See, my thing is, if you cannot keep the baby for whatever reason, there are other options. You can drop the baby off at a hospital, and a lot of times they won't even ask you for anything. Why are we throwing babies in the garbage? This 18-year-old was charged with abandoning a child without intent to return, and her bond was set at $200,000.
The unsolved final footage of Lars Matank is just as chilling as it is confusing. But the story really starts back in 2014. This is 28-year-old Lars, and he ends up taking a trip to Bulgaria with his friends. So at a night out at a bar, he ends up getting into an argument with several unknown men, which results in a fight, and he ends up rupturing his eardrum. Because of his injury, he insists that his friends are going to fly back without him, and he's just going to stay behind and recover for a few days. But as soon as he's left behind in the hotel, this is when the strange and erratic behavior becomes almost immediate, and he starts becoming paranoid and thinks there are men following him. Which then leads us to this final footage where we see Lars arriving at the airport, presuming that he's there to catch a flight because he has luggage in hand. But then for an unknown reason, we see him sprinting out of the terminal into the parking lot, and this was the last time he has ever been seen on camera. To this day, what Lars thought he was running from or where he went remains a complete unknown in this case.
What happened to Lars, bro? That's eerie, man. Imagine going leave your friend and never hearing from him again. And that's the freaking last footage you saw.
And she says, "Hi, Jamila."
Cheese. Cheese. What you doing?
The hell are you looking at?
What? What you see? Who are you saying hi to? Who are you saying hi to?
stop that. You're freaking me out. Come on.
Where are you waving, Lila?
Oh man.
Bye. Bye. Was she, did you Grandma almost couldn't walk?
She was old. She could walk, but she was old. Okay?
Mommy, your grandma's here. And she says, hi, Jamila.
What?
Your grandma's here. And she says, hi, Jamila.
Follow for more.
She was talking to her grandma?
Unsolved mysteries. This picture shows unsolved mysteries from the most well-known to the darkest of the dark. Some of these mysteries will drive you crazy and make you question everything. In this series, we'll be picking some from each category until we reach Tier 10, which will apparently make you and me question our entire existence. Without further ado, let's get into Tier 1. This is Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, and it's one of the most famous unsolved mysteries of all time. Now, on the 8th of March 2014, the plane was flying from Kuala Lumpur International Airport to Beijing capital. However, the plane never reached its destination. After just over 2 hours, the flight disappeared off the radar, and ATC had no contact with the plane. Days after the mysterious disappearance, people started looking into it, but found absolutely nothing. Not even any debris was actually found initially. It's believed that the plane could have actually been hijacked, and it's also of course possible that the plane did just crash somewhere in the sea, but nothing was found. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss Tier 2. It's about to get crazy.
Here are some events that will happen by the year 2050. The sad truth is, by the year 2050, half of the world's population will not have access to clean drinking water.
Whoa.
Half of the Amazon rainforest will be deforested, leaving many animals without any shelter at all. In 2025, SpaceX is sending their first cargo ship to Mars. And if all goes well, they are sending their first humans to Mars by the year 2050. So who knows, maybe by 2050 we will have the first civilization on Mars. Animals are getting more dangerous and more powerful every year. Animals are evolving every day, becoming more of a threat to society. I'm not talking about your regular house pet, I'm talking about wild animals. For instance, in 2020, we found the first flying spider, your worst nightmare. You thought the coronavirus was bad? Well, by 2050, there could be more deadly viruses affecting the world than ever before. You better keep that face mask. The population will be 9.6 billion.
Hey man, we gotta be aware, bro, of things freaking coming to the future, man. The thing about flying spiders, hell no. See, I can't do that. That's just something I refuse to believe in, bro. No.
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 10. It has been said that in some cases, if you hear ringing in your ear, it could be signs of a dead family member trying to contact you. Hey, Grandma. Many statistics have shown that blue-eyed people are more likely to suffer from alcoholism and depression than anyone else. You've got to be kidding me. There have been some cases reported of doctors selling their patients' blood on the dark web. Number 1, why would a doctor need to make any more extra money? Number 2, why are you selling a patient's blood on the dark web? One time a lady found toenails in her chicken nuggets at McDonald's. There's a reason I don't eat McDonald's. 4 actors from The Poltergeist died shortly after the filming of the movie because they thought there was a hanging curse over the movie that caused them to die.
We ain't eating no freaking McDonald's chicken nuggets no more. Those out, bro. Toenails and chicken nuggets?
Imagine
Hell
your
no.
best friend sleeping with your 6-year-old daughter, and that's not even the worst part of it. He films it and keeps it in his phone. This is one story that would live in your head rent-free, haunting and frankly disturbing. So this story happened in Russia in September of 2021, and it's about 2 friends, 32-year-old Oleg and 34-year-old Vyacheslav, who they say have been best friends for a very long time. Vyacheslav was married with kids. He and his wife had about 2 children at the time. And so every once in a while, maybe when either of them are busy or when both of them were busy, Vyacheslav would leave his children in the hands of his best friend Oleg to babysit till either he or his wife returns from work. And also for the fact that to the kids, Uncle Oleg was an uncle. He was pretty much family. Little did they know that something was wrong with Uncle Oleg. The whole story unfolded from August of of 2021. And it so happened that one day while the two friends were hanging out in a bar, Vexnov picked Oleg's phone just to go through it for fun. And that was when he stumbled upon a video that looked off. He clicked on the video and saw his friend, the 2-year-old man, sexually assaulting his 6-year-old daughter. And that set him off. It was said that he confronted Oleg, and immediately Oleg ran away because at this point his cover has blown. Not only was he molesting his best friend's daughter, there were videos of him molesting about 7 other children in his phone multiple times. Click the link on our bio to get 820,000 Naira bonus with 150 free spins to win exciting prizes using our promo code TCD to register.
Creepy fact you probably don't know, but you're about to. Part 2.
Can't
At
trust
one
no
time,
one.
doctors thought that babies didn't feel pain. It took up until 1987 for the American Academy of Pediatrics to declare that it was unethical to operate on babies without anesthesia. So that means for years, babies were forced to just sit there and suffer through surgery without any form of pain control or anesthetics. So yeah, that's kind of scary.
Yes,
These
it
are 8
is.
horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. When Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunyu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone, during the trip. If you have red eyes after swimming, it's not from chlorine. It's from the chlorine mixing with other people's urine. The furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're not coming back. Sunburn are your cells dying to avoid being cancerous. Most laugh tracks and shows are people from the 50s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 14.
Gotta find some more of those, bro. Let's keep us some
Cute
full
animals
knowledge.
that are actually horrifying, part 1. I know we all think of walruses as cute little fellas that make for great stuffed animals, but what if I told you they have a habit of sucking the brains out of baby seals while they're still alive?
What?
Walruses normally use their incredibly strong suction to vacuum clams out of their shells, but some wanted something a little meatier, and have used their strong suction for a much more sinister purpose, which I call the death hickey. They grab a young seal with their flippers, wrap their lips around the poor guy's nose, and turn on the vacuum, sucking the brains out through the seal's nose like it's drinking a smoothie. After it's had its appetizer, it hickeys off some other pieces of seal meat until it's done with its meal. But the wrath of walruses isn't limited to seals. I went into various walrus attacks on people in my latest YouTube video if you guys want to check it out.
Man, what the heck? It's news to me, bro. When you see walruses, they, like they said, they always display them as, they're kind, loving animals. They're braid eaters, bro. Shocking our reality. Wide open, man.
Here's the dark truth behind The Wizard of Oz. The actress that played Dorothy, Judy Garland, was actually drugged and molested during filming. She was also given adrenaline shots so that she could stay up to sometimes more than 48 hours in a row. And there was also reports that she was molested and sexually harassed by both the Munchkin actors and studio executives. The actress that plays the Wicked Witch also got horrifically burned on set. In this scene where the Wicked Witch escapes Munchkin Land in a plume of smoke, the pyrotechnics team accidentally set off the explosion a little too early, which caused the actress's broom, hat, and makeup to catch on fire. Medics had to use alcohol to remove her toxic makeup, which was extremely painful due to her burns. And the fake snow in this scene was made using asbestos, which causes cancer.
Hey, man, these movie productions back in the day, they sound
Recent
cursed.
Discoveries, Part 2. Just last month, archaeologists examining a newly discovered ancient Egyptian cemetery found this lid on the coffin of an ancient priestess. It's clear that whomever arranged for her funeral wasn't prepared to pay top dollar for her burial. The internet has also pointed out that the image closely resembles Marge Simpson, even though the coffin is more than 3,000 years old. Last year, a perfectly intact 1,500-year-old arrow was discovered nestled between some rocks in Norway. The research team thinks it was encased in ice, then transported downslope as the ice melted. An amateur diver exploring shallow waters near Israel recently discovered this 900-year-old iron sword. Experts believe it belonged to a Crusader knight before he lost it overboard during a fierce battle in the 11th century. An incredible discovery was recently made during renovations at a church in Naples, Italy. Behind a 16th century painting called Life of San Severo, workers found a hidden painting depicting St. George slaying a dragon.
Whoa. Hidden treasures. Hidden within.
These are scary facts about popular childhood movies, part 1. Up first, Claire Blandick, who played Auntie M in The Wizard of Oz, suffered from arthritis that was so painful that she committed suicide at the age of 85. She did her hair and makeup one final time and put on a nice dress before overdosing on sleeping pills. She then left a note that said, "I am now about to make the great adventure. I cannot endure this agonizing pain any longer. It's all over my body. I pray the Lord my soul to take. Amen." Next up, in the movie The Adventures of Milo and Otis, it's been reported that upwards of 20 cats were killed during the filming of the movie. There's a lot of speculation behind this because the film somehow got the approval of the American Humane Society, despite not having their officers present during filming.
How? Someone wasn't doing their job, man. They tried to cut
Blood-curdling
corners.
facts that you wish you never knew. Part 19. Facebook was forced to shut down 2 artificial intelligence robots named Alice and Bob because they started communicating with one another in their own language. If you ever win the lottery, you're 120 times more likely to be killed by an immediate family member. A sloth has nipples in its armpits. In the 17th century, there was a man named Tare who could eat his entire body weight in just one sitting. And despite being pretty skinny, he would swallow live animals, eat human corpses, and was even accused of eating the body of a 3-year-old toddler. An 11-year-old boy named Konorak escaped Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, but was later returned to Dahmer by police, and he killed the boy just 30 minutes after. It's commonly believed in religion that angels look like this, but according to the Bible, they actually look like this.
Disturbing facts that may ruin your day.
Okay.
This 82-year-old woman went to the doctor for pelvic pain. She had been carrying a mummified fetus in her womb for over 40 years. The fetus was completely calcified and deemed the stone baby. Alcohol kills 1 person every 10 seconds worldwide. As whales reach old age, they don't have the strength to come up to the surface for air. This causes them to drown and sink to the bottom of the ocean. Bill Lewis, aka Mr. Mosby from the Disney Channel, was arrested for manslaughter and driving while intoxicated back in 1991. Due to scorching hot summers, Siberian bears have been digging up dead bodies from nearby cemeteries for food. It's like they see the cemeteries as giant refrigerators. Refrigerators have magnetic doors now because children used to die in them. Before the 1950s, refrigerators could be only opened from the outside. Toddlers' teeth are right below their eyes.
Whoa. That's a scary image, man. The skull, bro, the teeth beneath the eyes. It really breaks my mind sometimes how the human body works. Jen.
Demon that has been known to possess animals or humans. What's terrifying is that you could see that the water sounded and looked like it actually hit something before falling to the ground. So even though we couldn't see it, we could hear it, and you could see that the water physically hit it.
We learn about Jinn, so.
Urban legends I've ever heard, and it ended up being true. But in Canada, there was this legend that one night a bunch of people saw a bright blue light in the sky, and the next day an entire village of people disappeared. But it turns out that legend is rooted in something that really happened. This is coming from this week's episode. I have a whole series on urban legends that ended up being true, and it's a very scary listen. So in Canada in 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle was riding in the river in his canoe when he came to a village he had seen before. Except this time when he came upon it, it looked like everyone had left in a hurry. Food was still cooking, and a bunch of dogs were barking and super hungry as if they had been left behind. But the strangest part of all of this was in the middle of the community, there was a grave that had been disturbed. And that reminded the fur trapper of a very scary story he had heard. The legend of the Tornrak, which was this demon that supposedly stalked the area. So he starts looking for someone who might know what happened to these people. They were a nomadic people. It didn't make any sense that they would have left all of their stuff behind. And that's when he finds a man in a hospital who is potentially part of the village. The man is so freaked out. He won't say anything at first, but eventually Joe gets him to talk, and he recognizes one word that the man says. Tornrak, the name of the evil deity that was potentially in the area. The police basically don't believe any of this, but they do acknowledge that before the disappearance, they did see blue lights in the sky that no one has been able to figure out what they were. I get more into the theories of what may have happened in this episode, and I also talk a little bit more about other urban legends that ended up being true.
Hey, remember this nonsense, the cheetah gator? Yeah, this was real, and there was a time where it was everyone's problem. His actual name is the Ori Pasukas, and his hood is in what is now South America and Africa. And the memes are true. He was a land op, meaning he would run his prey down. Scientists believe the Ori Pasukas would have galloped after its prey. Luckily for everything around it, it was actually a mini-me that only grew to about 3 to 5 feet long, and it probably only ate small lizards, mammals, and dinosaur hatchlings. Now, if this guy pulled up on you, it would be a very different movie. Caprosuchus saharicus was a 23-foot middle finger with teeth that looked like it belonged to a feral pig, which is actually why they were nicknamed the boar croc. And unlike crocodiles today, whose eyes are at the top of their head, the Caprosuchus' eyes were more lateral. You might not realize it, but that's very bad, because instead of just hiding in the water with just its eyes above the surface, this assault weapon with teeth had binocular vision and depth perception, meaning not only was it catching bodies on land, it was probably chasing them down too. And unlike its smaller cousin, it probably clapped dinosaurs. And if Google's right, this 23-foot monster with boar jaws would have been almost as fast as Usain Bolt, and they would have attacked you by slamming them down into you like a sledgehammer. And the only reason they're not around today is even nature knows when it's gone too far.
Lucky, bro.
CERN has accidentally opened multiple portals all around the world, and strange creatures are coming out. Part 2. They have discovered a new creature called a Dracohound. Their diet has consisted of small berries, rodents, and other vegetation. Another animal that they discovered is called flutterpaws. They've also found forest sentinels, which are beetle-like creatures, eating things like plant matter, fungi, and insects. Now the scary part is they found one of these portals under the ocean. Strange ships have been popping out of them. The technology in these ships are way more advanced than ours. And scientists believe that humanoid creatures are flying these things. Make sure you hit that follow button because part 3 is wild.
CERN open up portals? Nothing new.
Space, and from all my years of education, this is the scariest fact I know. There is a cosmological model for the future of the universe called the Big Rip, and it tells us how the universe might end. You've been warned. As our universe expands, it continues to speed up, getting faster and faster, and from everything we know about physics, it's not going to slow down. If this is true, in around 22 billion years from now, the force of dark energy driving the universe's expansion will overcome all other forces of physics, literally causing galaxies to be destroyed, the solar system to be ripped apart, Earth will then explode, and finally, the literal atoms in everything will be ripped apart. So if any humans are around then, they will be literally ripped apart, atom by atom, from the universe itself. Enjoy your dreams tonight. Further that you look
expanding too
you
fast.
start to realize just how dark it really is. This woman behind me, this is Lorleen Wallace. She was the first female governor of Alabama, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer. Dark history for Lorleen was that, legally, doctors did not have to tell her. They only told her husband. Please let that sink in. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, terminal cancer, and only her husband was told. Her husband decided not to tell her. Legally, he didn't have to. It was thought at the time that women's nerves were too fragile to be able to handle news like this, so only their husbands were told. I think we're probably going to cover this on the podcast, because this is actually a pretty in-depth story, if you want to listen. Basically, the way this story ends is that Lorleen, she does become governor. She runs, but she only lives through the first year of her term. She was never initially told she was dying.
Creepy last words people
That's
said right
insane,
before
man.
dying. A 20-year-old gang member was dying of primary liver cancer. In his last days, hours, and moments, he was angry. The family called the hospice nurse into the room and told her that they thought he was going. He wasn't responding, his eyes were glossy, his skin was cold, the end was imminent. His lovely mother whispered to him to go towards the light, to her Jesus. He opened his eyes, looked at her, and said, "F your Jesus." A second or two later, he slowly turned his head to the left and got the most horrific look on his face, as if he was looking at something that they couldn't see. And horrified, his face contorted, and he screamed with his last breath, eyes wide, "Oh sh! Oh sh! Oh no!" Then he made a guttural noise and promptly fell back into the bed and died. Every family member was shaking and too frightened to speak. The hospice nurse left the room and took 2 days off. She said she doesn't care if she never finds out what he saw.
Scary facts you'll wish you never knew. Part 4. Bacteria lives in your belly button. Back in 2012, scientists found 1,400 new species of bacteria that live there. Just like fingerprints, each person has their own unique bacteria farm that separates them from other people. Some bacteria can even travel around. Scientists once tested a volunteer and found bacteria that could only be found in the soils of Japan. But the volunteer had never been to Japan. There's a strain of rust that could wipe out billions of people from the earth. It's called the UG99 stem and was found in Uganda back in 1999. And it destroys 100% of the wheat in a field that it's in. And because of how much wheat is produced on a massive scale, if this strain infects production sites like in Europe, India, or China, it would cause billions of people to either starve to death or die of sickness. Next, there's a toxin called botulinum toxin, and just 60 grams of this is enough to kill every single person that has ever lived. It's a common substance found in Botox injections, and just a teaspoon of it can kill every single person alive right now. And the CDC in Atlanta is a Pandora's box that is one mistake away from unleashing the deadliest sicknesses known to mankind. If there's ever a breach, years of medical advancements will become useless because of the hordes of deadly diseases that are studied there.
Facts that I wish I didn't know. When Gerardo Mendina turned 18 years old, his mom, Lena, was 23. Meaning she had her son at just 5 years old, making her the youngest mother ever. Sudden adult death syndrome is the thing, where your heart just stops seemingly for no reason, like a cardiac arrest, except no cardiac arrest can be detected. So dementia is what they say when there's symptoms of a decline in thinking skills and memory loss, and Alzheimer's is the disease that can cause it. And signs that you might grow up and have this can be detected as early as 3 years old. Not just that though, the symptoms too. Alzheimer's and dementia in children exists, meaning that anybody at any age can completely lose their mind and become a husk of themselves.
Crazy to think about.
This picture is an example of a psychological phenomenon known as the uncanny valley. Most people, when they look at this image, are freaked out, and here's why. Our brains accept things that look human, but when there are slight differences, we become extremely uneasy, and this is known as the uncanny valley. A popular example of this is the movie The Polar Express, and this one definitely freaked me out as a kid. And it's because the characters look human, but not quite. Here's some more examples, but fair warning, they're definitely nightmare fuel.
Gruesome facts
The uncanny valley effect. Does that really shake y'all seekers? To me, not really, but I know she said how some people, they just can't stand, to look at it. It seems human, but it's really not. My God, that Polar Express, that one kind of hits different, man, because you used to watch that as a kid, and you didn't even know they placed that in the media, man. The more you know. The more you know, man. Tap in with us, man. You're going to learn some things.
You didn't know.
Open your mind.
22. This is Zone Rogue, a 42,000-acre area of land in France that was isolated by the government following World War I. They deemed the area too damaged and too dangerous from lead, mercury, arsenic, and chlorine, as well as being saturated with human and animal remains, unexploded shells, grenades, and ammunition. This devastating photo, taken in 1945 by marine photographer Joe O'Donnell, shows a little boy waiting his turn to cremate his dead little brother. The boy bit his lip so hard that it bled and silently walked away after placing his brother in the fire. When traveling to Somalia, the U.S. State Department officially recommends that you draft a will and designate insurance beneficiaries. They also suggest that you designate a family member as a point of contact with hostage takers. On the evening of May 14th, 1998, Frank Sinatra suffered a massive heart attack. The ambulance that was carrying him and his wife both made it to the hospital in record time. This was due to the nearly deserted streets as everyone else was at home watching the finale of Seinfeld.
Curtain number 1.
Creepy fact. Added.
Things humans were never meant to see.
Je pense que le professeur ne va pas venir aujourd'hui. Donc je retourne à la maison.
Oh. Hit the jets.
Can someone explain this, please?
Creepy ass cloud. No, that's like two suns. What the hell? I don't know if that's an illusion or something.
The scale of this marble quarry is so huge that it makes the excavator look like a tool. What bioluminescence looks like in the rain.
Whoa.
What the hell
Weird
just
ass
happened
facts.
in Illinois? Seemingly out of nowhere yesterday morning, a massive sinkhole opened right in the middle of this football field in Alton. It completely swallowed up a number of bleachers and one of the huge floodlights. Now luckily, at the time, there was no one on the pitch when this happened, otherwise this would be a very different piece of news. And although it looks like some freaking sign of the apocalypse, it's said to have been caused by a working underground mine that experienced a surface subsidence. Fortunately, no one in the mine was injured either.
If you see this in the ocean, get out fast. In 2016, an Australian fisherman saw this near his boat. At first, he thought it was some kind of alien creature, but he soon realized it was something even scarier. This is actually a swollen whale. When a whale passes away, it swells up, and eventually so much gas builds up that the whale's body explodes. This sends whale guts everywhere. Whales can explode with so much force that they can injure or end human lives. As soon as he realized the danger he was in, the fisherman, Mark Watkins, sailed away. But this whale definitely looks like it's ready to pop.
The hell? I didn't even know whales can explode? What the? Well, we knew that, but I didn't know like it builds up with gas. But watching these clips together, you know, I've learned that they said even when people pass away, like they can like burp and, you know, I guess cough and stuff like that because gas builds up in their body. So it happens to animals as well. The more you know, see, I kept that in my knowledge bank. Reference that, man.
This might be the most disturbing experiment that NASA has ever conducted. Morbid Facts, Part 87. In the 1960s, NASA was funding an experiment to try to teach humans how to communicate with dolphins. They hired a woman named Margaret Howe Levatt, whose only credentials were that she loved animals, perhaps a little too much. She stayed in a flooded home with a male dolphin named Peter and practically lived with him for 6 days out of the week. Peter was a sexually maturing male dolphin, so Margaret often had to satisfy him to calm him down. This led to the formation of an intense emotional bond that was abruptly ended once the experiment would shut down. A heartbroken Peter struggled mightily with the separation and became deeply depressed. One day, he decided to take one final breath before sinking down to the bottom of his tank and effectively ending his own life. Ever since then, this experiment has been regarded as extremely unethical and weird as shit.
You think? She was doing that to a damn dolphin. Wrong on so many levels.
Creepiest things kids have ever said. A woman drove past the cemetery with her 3-year-old daughter. Now they would drive past it every day. 3-year-old would tell her mom that people in there were waving at her. This would go on for a while until they decided to stop driving past the cemetery forever. This is because the daughter mentioned that there was an old lady wanting her to come in there. An aunt asked her niece to draw her imaginary friend for her. And this is what she drew. A humanoid figure with about 10 legs and their head detached. A little girl was playing in the McDonald's playhouse by herself and alone. The mother took this picture of her in the tunnel. To their surprise, in the photo, they saw another child. But mind you, she was playing in there alone. When they asked their daughter who it was, she said, "That's my imaginary friend, Beto." A little boy told his dad he had an imaginary friend. He called him the Hanging Man and said he would visit him in his room every night. And even drew a picture of him for his dad. So the dad hid a camera in the child's room to see what he was talking about and caught this. Check this out.
Hey Eliza, do you remember the day you were born?
No, but I remember the earth would open and I crawled out of hell.
Do they have a return policy on children? Because I think she needs one. Speaking
What
of
the
birth,
heck?
there's a 1 in 365 chance of you meeting someone with your exact birthday. Put your birthday down below to see if you can find your twin. Make sure to hit that follow button because part 2 is crazy.
Yeah, put your birthdays down below.
Research published yesterday has revealed that crows experience a much higher level of consciousness than we previously thought. A study into their brain revealed that crows experience primary consciousness, previously only observed in primates. We've always known crows were clever. They are excellent problem solvers, and creepily enough, research has shown that when a crow encounters a mean human, it will then teach other crows how to identify the human. Research has also shown that crows never forget a face, so remember that next time you're messing with one. The fact that crows, which last shared a common ancestor with primates 320 million years ago, are aware of themselves and their thoughts means we may have to completely rethink our understanding of consciousness and which animals experience it.
You don't even
Disturbing
want to say crows,
facts
man.
that will ruin your day. Part 1. Where they lose their baby teeth.
What the hell? Saw that skull, man? All those teeth in there, bro? And I didn't know it, like, when you farted, the poop particles that be in your nose. What the hell? So every single time you smell a fart, bro, you have poop in your nose. Just blowing our reality wide open, man. That's crazy.
Wait, the sky outside is fake?
When they launch this fake alien invasion, everybody gonna swear it's real. You know why? Because people don't know that the sky is CGI technology. I've been telling y'all this. That's not your real sky. See the sky behind me? That same sky up there. That motherfucker is not real. Alright? It's not real. I've been telling y'all that for a reason because it's being controlled. It's 5 layers to it. It's CGI technology. They showed you this shit in that movie Kong when he threw the motherfucking spear at the motherfucking sun, nigga. Right? They showed it right to you, but before they showed it to you in Kong, for those of you who've been listening to me at university, y'all know from day one I've been telling y'all this. So if people don't know that CGI technology, once they get the change in the frequency of the sky, and they get the altering the layers of the sky, they make it look like it's a war going on right there that's not. Alright? They make it seem like it's these huge spaceships that's in the sky that's not. And then they're gonna actually use actual spaceships that they do have from other extraterrestrial species like these insectoids and these greys and these other ones that they got, they in cahoots with. They gonna make this shit look real, y'all. Listen, this gonna be the biggest movie. Listen, this gonna be the biggest movie they never put out, nigga. This gonna be the biggest movie they ever put out. I'm saying movie for a reason because the shit ain't real, but it's gonna look real. Listen, you ain't better tell people that we ain't under UFO invasion.
He could be onto something. Stay weird.
These are the
Interesting
5
theory.
scariest space facts. You've been warned. If a massive asteroid was headed for the Earth, the chances are there isn't really much we could do. At any moment, the sun could emit a coronal mass ejection aimed at the Earth, and if we weren't prepared for it, it could destroy the entire world's energy grid and leave us without power for years. There are black holes lurking in the shadows, roaming throughout our galaxy, and if one entered our solar system, it would be all over. When a star runs out of fuel, it can emit a gamma ray burst. And if a star within 3,000 light years of Earth happened to emit a gamma ray burst, and it was aimed at us, the ozone layer would be destroyed. Finally, every year, there is more space junk created, putting us at risk of being trapped within the Earth.
Man, yeah, junk on Earth, junk in space, bro. It's like all that just keep piling up and up. I don't even know there was space junk. I mean, I knew there was some things, but I didn't know it was like gonna get bad to that level. Everywhere polluted, man. Even in space, that make no damn sense.
This is a scary story about the school trip. An entire class of 6th graders went on a school trip one day. Everybody was taking pictures with their phones and cameras and having such a great time. But when they all got back to school, they started looking through all the photos they took, when suddenly one of the girls screamed, "Oh my god, what is that?" In the picture, one of the boys in the class was sitting on the bus, and nothing seemed strange about the photo until you looked at his reflection in the window. His face in the reflection looked like it was yellow and bulging, and completely mutating. Also, there was a white floating figure behind him in the reflection. Everybody turned the photo upside down and realized it was a human skull, and it was horrific. And when the boy saw the photo of himself, he immediately burst into tears and had a panic attack. The teacher then took the boy to the nurse's office, and the principal banned everybody from speaking about the strange photo ever again. And to make this even scarier, 7 days later, the boy died from a brain tumor. The photo is said to be on the internet somewhere, but I don't recommend looking for it.
Here are 10 creepy, disturbing, and scary facts you didn't know. Part 2. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. Until 1974, it was illegal to appear in public in the city of Chicago if you were ugly. During the early 1990s, a serial killer named Joseph Metheny owned a burger stand located in Baltimore, Maryland. After his arrest in 1996, he confessed to feeding his customers the flesh of at least 3 humans he had murdered. A new homeowner was shocked to find a rag doll boarded up in a wall cavity, clutching a note saying she killed a family. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 42 seconds. To this day, we still don't know where that signal came from. The movie The Hills Have Eyes was based on the true story of the Bean Clan, a Scottish family who would secretly ambush, kill, and eat travelers for 25 years. In 1957, 2 sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock, were killed in a tragic car accident. A year later, their mother gave birth to twins, Jennifer and Jillian. Then it gets weird. Jennifer, the younger twin, had scars and birthmarks on her body that were identical to Jacqueline's, the deceased younger sister. The twins began to ask for toys that had belonged to the deceased girl, toys they had no knowledge of. Albert Fish, an American serial killer, boasted that he killed in every state and claimed to have had over 100 victims. What makes him even more sickening is that he sent letters to his victims' parents to tell them how good their children tasted.
Disgusting.
A man named Francesco Lentini had 3 legs, 4 feet, 16 toes, and 2 sets of functioning male genitals. He worked for a circus and lived until the age of 78. In 2011, Anatoly Yurovich was arrested after 12 dolls were found in his apartment. However, they weren't regular dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that he had dug up, dressed up, and displayed.
What the fuck?
Like for part 3.
There's people on the road.
Mommy told me something a little girl should know. It's all about the devil.
That wasn't it.
This is one of Spirit Halloween's creepiest props. This is Gruesome Granny from 2013, and she is easily in my top 10 props of all time. She's made by Techie Design, and they did a great job on her. Her head and hands have an awesome amount of detail, and the baby does too. And as you can see, she's pretty animated as well. She rocks back and forth while singing her baby to sleep. Her mouth moves, head turns, and her head lifts up and down. Almost everything about her to me is phenomenal. I just wish her clothing was more reflective of how long she's been dead, I mean, she's clearly been rotting for a very long time, yet her clothes are still mostly pristine. And as per usual for techie props, my favorite part about her is the audio. It is just so fucking awesome. She sings Rockabye Baby, and it's very creepy. There's a music box in the background, the baby's laughing and crying. It's just a really well-constructed soundtrack. And she does a good job at making people uncomfortable. Some people don't like this concept at all. I've seen a lot of sensitive people flip shit over this one. But I think she's weirdly wholesome. I mean, a grandmother's love transcending even death. I don't know, I think that's pretty fucking metal though. She retailed for $170 back in the day and is clearly another massive W for Techie.
Tell us some kids. Yeah, she's gonna terrorize some kids.
Terrifying facts you never knew. If your immune system ever found out that you have eyeballs, you would go blind. Which means right now your immune system has no clue that you can see. Because if they did, they would attack your eyeballs until you can no longer ever see. This is because your eyeballs have a protein in them called crystalline that doesn't exist anywhere else in your body. So if your immune system found out and checked them out, it would be like, something's wrong here. Studies show that most serial killers are born in November. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my anxiety might be up there too. There's a disease called fatal familial insomnia, where people suddenly one day lose their ability to fall asleep, which leads them to slowly go insane. They can't distinguish dreams from reality anymore and go into some type of paranoia. It becomes so severe that they eventually die. Those that make it to the final stage and don't die usually end up in a vegetative state, no longer conscious. And it can happen to any one of you. About 3,000 people go missing every year in the United States. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977. This was in France. And also that was the same year the first Star Wars movie came out. You are always 6 minutes away from death, but breathing resets the clock. In 2011, Anatoly Yakovlevich was arrested for having 12 dolls in his apartment. Only problem is, they weren't normal dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that had been dug up and dressed to be put on display. In 2012, a Burger King employee anonymously posted this to 4chan. It said, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." It only took 20 minutes for people to track down the branch that he worked at, and he was fired. You really never know what people are doing to your food. H.H. Holmes was a serial killer who built a torture hotel in the 19th century. He had secret rooms with gas chambers, trap doors, and stairs that led to nowhere. He loved to play with his victims' minds. It was almost like a real-life Saw movie. There's a bridge in Scotland called the Overtoun Bridge, and for some reason, dogs keep jumping off of it at the same spot. Yeah, they just jump to their deaths. Experts can't figure out why either. Some people speculate it's a magnetic field, or maybe a frequency that only they can hear, but others believe it's something supernatural. But whatever is making dogs jump off that bridge to their deaths is still to this day unexplained. Joe McDamey was an infamous serial killer who not only cooked his victims to eat for himself, but also made them into burgers, using their remains. He then sold them to unsuspecting customers from a roadside food stand. We really never know what we eat. I'm cooking all my food myself, because why don't we eat over people's house? In 2021, a new homeowner was shocked to find a boarded up wall. When he ripped the boards off the wall, he discovered a hole. In that hole was a doll clutching a note. The note saying that she killed a family who lived there in the 1960s. Be honest, would you move out? In 1978, there was a pilot named Frederick Valentin. Him and his plane disappeared in Australia. His last communication was, "Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering above me again." It is hovering, and it is not an aircraft. This is a mugshot of William West and William West. Oh, and they're not related at all, but they were both sent to Leavenworth Prison at the exact same time in 1903. And after some confusion, the staff finally figured out they were two different people who had the exact same name and looked identical. This was said to be one of the main reasons why we now use fingerprints to identify somebody. There's biotech being developed as we speak that can make prisoners feel they are serving an 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. That's horrifying. Imagine thinking you spent 1,000 years somewhere, and then when you wake up and snap out of it, you realize that it was only a couple hours. Do you know how crazy that is? Anyways, like this video if you want a part 2.
That's basically a damn genjutsu. Can't even imagine that, like, just all those hours stimulating your mind. I've freaking like cracked your mind faster than a half. All that time passed by, but you waking up, it's only like 8-9 hours went by. But your mind, it made it feel like it was 1,000 or even way more. Crazy. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker, man. Seeking the truth. I really appreciate that, man. I've been seeing the comments out, but I've been saying, like, sometimes y'all subscribe, but y'all still not getting the videos in y'all feed. Y'all not notified. That's how I said, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that post notification bell, man. Hit that like button, man, so you always get notified. I drop every single day, man. I do daily uploads, so you guys should always check my channel at least once time a day, man, because you guys know a video is gonna drop. But thank you guys for the support. We're gonna keep good. We're gonna keep growing. Continue to grind. Like I said, we're gonna grow. We're gonna blow up in this algorithm. Guys, I'm catching the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.